US Air Force and Indian Air Force have started their bilateral exercise, which is called as COPE India 2023. It is happening in 3 locations, Panagarh, Agra and Kalaikunda, which is in West Bengal. There are 2 things unique about the current bilateral exercise. The first is that B-1 bomber from US will for the first time participate in these exercises. Apart from that, well, there's one more surprise. We'll be seeing F15 Strike Eagle take on Sukhoi 30 in a dogfight. So these are the 2 important unique features of this bilateral exercise. This bilateral exercise is aimed at improving mutual understanding between both the forces. Special forces of both US and India would be involved in these exercises. The current exercises are focusing on supporting aircraft operations, including designating targets by laser on frontline areas, so that the precision-guided bombs can hit them. The thing to note is that few months back, there was another bilateral exercise which was called as Yuddh Abhyas. It happened in December last year, where both US Army and Indian Army together practiced high altitude warfare, among other things. Earlier last year, there was another exercise called as Yuddh Prahar. So what's going on between India and US? Are India and US both preparing a future scenario where both have to coordinate with each other to fight China? This comes at a time when India and China have a logjam in the LAC, which is the line of actual control, which amounts to thousands of kilometers. Transport aircraft of both the air forces, which includes C-130J and C-17, and in fact US is also fielding its latest MC-130J as well. Meanwhile, Pacific Air Commander General Kenneth has said that he has shared information about the spy balloon being shot down in United States with the Indian forces. He said that he has had few brief chats. So clearly there is exchange happening from between Pentagon, Washington, US Air Force and Indian establishment. Indian Air Force has been conducting joint exercises over the last couple of years, particularly in UAE and UK. In fact, later this year, Indian Air Force will conduct a joint exercise with France with its latest Rafale jets, followed by Greece. So there's a lot of activity happening with Indian Air Force with respect to its joint exercises. In fact, Indian Navy also is conducting joint exercises. Malabar was one. COPE India is a series of war game. It actually started in 2004. Initially, it started with training and then it moved on to subject matter experts. And then today, it has become a full-fledged bilateral military exercise. For the last 3 years, the war games were paused due to the pandemic, but now they have restarted. So it's not really that alarming from the perspective that they've already been scheduled. So I don't think China should be worried about it. Well, it should be, because India and US are continuing their defense cooperation. United States has officially said that India is not an ally. India is not a treaty-bound ally. But at the same time, United States has designated India as a strategic partner. China would be closely monitoring these exercises. In fact, China took objection to the last exercise which was conducted last year. It said that India violated the 1993 and 1996 treaties with China. India gave it back to China, saying that the exercises that were held last year were 100 kilometers away from the line of actual control. And it was absolutely fine, and it didn't violate any treaty with China. In fact, China was the one which violated its treaty by suddenly bringing in forces without informing India at the line of actual control. So India is definitely not taking any objection from the Chinese side. In fact, last year, US also shrugged it off when China expressed its concern with the India-US bilateral exercise. So why are India and US doing this? To be fair, certain bilateral exercises have always been going on since decades between India and US. Bilateral exercises are not uncommon. In fact, India and China also had a bilateral exercise. Yes, it's right. In 2019, actually, India and China had a bilateral military exercise. So it's not very uncommon. But at the same time, if you consider the fact that Japanese Air Force, Japanese Self-Defense Air Force is acting as an observer in the current exercise, and if you try to connect the dots, clearly we are seeing that there are some unofficial alliances taking form in terms of cohesive military tactical initiatives. Only time will tell whether these exercises will be put into use against any other country, any other third country. This is Degree signing off from this video. Do like this video and subscribe to my channel. I'll keep posting more videos. Stay tuned.